Have you ever seen it? That tiny little hesitation your loved one has before stepping on a rug? Or that slight wobble when they stand up? These are more than just signs of getting older. They're signals. And in this explainer, we're going to look at fall prevention in a totally new way. Not as a bunch of rules, but as a compassionate, science-backed way to shape safety. And, just as important, restore confidence.
This is what a woman we'll call Mrs. L told her daughter. She always used to glide through her home totally at ease. But lately, something's different. And that whisper, it just perfectly captures this quiet uncertainty that so many people feel, this sense that their own body, and even their own home, are starting to feel a little bit alien.
And these are the clues her daughter started picking up on. That quick pause before crossing a rug she's crossed 1,000 times, a hand that just instinctively reaches out to a doorframe for a little extra support, that split-second hesitation before getting in the shower. Look, these aren't just random tics. They are literal signals the brain and body are sending that say, hey, I'm not as steady as I used to be. And for anyone in a caregiver role, learning to see these signals, well, that's the absolute first step.
Okay, so once you start noticing these little clues, the next step is to go from just worrying about them to actually understanding them. Because what the science shows us is that these moments aren't random. Nope, they are part of hidden patterns that we can actually learn to see.
Now this is the big idea, the real game changer. Falls are not just bad luck. They aren't some random accident that just happens out of the blue. The huge majority of them follow a pattern. And think about it. If something has a pattern, it becomes predictable. If it's predictable, you can observe it. And if you can observe it, you can prevent it. Just shifting your thinking in this one way is incredibly empowering.
The science behind all of this is called behavioral gerontology. I know, it sounds like a mouthful, right? But the idea is actually super simple. It's all about looking at how a person's daily routines, their physical space, and their habits all work together to either ramp up the risk or create a bubble of safety. It's a really practical science, all about making small, consistent changes that can have a massive impact.
And this slide just lays it out so clearly. The old way of thinking basically says falls are just tragic accidents, and it's all because of physical weakness. It's a story of helplessness, really. But the new view, the one based in behavioral science, tells us something completely different. It says falls are the preventable end result of patterns we have the power to change. We can actually shape the world around our loved ones to build a foundation of safety.
So the theory is great and all, but how do we put this into practice? Let's get right into the toolkit, the actual actionable things you can do to start shaping safety right in the home.
First up, let's reshape the environment. But notice how specific this is. It's not just about, oh, get rid of that rug. It's about looking at the pathways someone walks every single day that goes over that rug. It's about having lights turn on automatically before they even take a step. It's about creating one super obvious, sturdy place to grab onto instead of a cluttered mess of wobbly options. What we're really doing is designing the environment to make the safe choice the easy choice.
Okay, before we go any further, we've got to talk about the highest risk area in the entire house. The data on this is just crystal clear. The bathroom is the #1 spot for falls at home. You've got hard surfaces, water, and lots of complicated movements all in one tiny space. It's a major hazard zone.
And because of that, we have to be proactive, not reactive. Please don't wait for a fall to make these changes. A shower chair means less time standing on a slippery floor. A good non-slip mat is not negotiable. A handheld shower head means less twisting and reaching, and just making sure a towel is right there within easy reach. That prevents that last, risky, off-balance lean. Honestly, this checklist is one of the most powerful things you can do, period.
All right, so we've talked about the physical space. Now let's talk about habits. We can actually reshape routines using a simple, consistent phrase like pause, hands here, every time before standing up, creates a predictable, safe little ritual. And when you see them moving slowly and steadily, that's your chance to reinforce it with some praise. You don't need some complicated exercise plan either. You can build tiny balance routines right into the day, like practicing shifting weight while brushing their teeth. Okay, here's a super common one. What do you do when you see your loved one furniture walking? Using walls, tables, and counters to get around, instead of a walker or a cane. It looks so unsafe, but just telling them to stop, well, that almost never works. The secret is a simple mantra. Replace, don't punish. So, step 1. The second you see it, offer a safer alternative right away, like your arm. That gives them immediate stability. Step 2. Gently guide them toward the best option, like their walker. And step 3. This is the most important part. You reinforce every single safe step they take with it. That positive feedback is what builds the new, safer habit.
And you know, even the way we talk is a safety tool. Just look at the difference here. The phrase on the left is a three-part command. For a brain that might be a little slower at processing, that's cognitive overload, and it actually increases the risk of a mistake. But the approach on the right breaks that exact same task into single, simple, manageable steps. This isn't about talking down to someone, it's about respecting their brain and setting them up to succeed.
All right, we've got the core strategies down, but we all know real life is messy, right? So now let's tackle some of those really common, really tough, emotional, and practical hurdles that caregivers run into every single day.
Oh, this is such a tough situation. You want to help, you can see the risk, but your mom pushes back. She wants to be independent. So do you just force the issue?
The behavioral answer is a clear and simple no. Forcing help almost always just makes someone dig their heels in even more, and it can really strain your relationship. The goal is to flip the dynamic. You want to create routines where she can start the action safely on her own, and you're just kind of standing by, ready to help only if she truly needs it. It respects her autonomy while still keeping her safe.
Okay, here's another classic. You see your dad practically launching himself out of a chair, maybe because he doesn't want to make anyone wait. And every time he does it, your heart just leaps into your throat. How on earth do you get him to slow down?
The principle here is so simple, but it is so powerful. Give your attention to the behavior you want to see more of. So when he rushes, stay cool. Be neutral. But the moment you see him stand up slowly, carefully, that's your chance. Jump in with something like, "Wow, Dad, that was so steady. I love how you took your time." You are actively reinforcing the safe pace.
And this might be one of the most emotionally charged hurdles of all. The doctor says he needs a walker, you know it'll make him safer, but your husband absolutely will not use it. What is going on there?
It is so crucial to understand this. To him, that walker doesn't feel like safety. It feels like loss. It's a symbol of decline, of losing independence. So you can't just insist he use it. Instead, you use a technique called shaping. You reintroduce it in tiny, successful little baby steps. You start by just praising him for taking 2 steps with it. A few days later, you aim for 5 steps. You slowly, gently build a new, positive connection with the walker, one small win at a time.
So, as we wrap all this up, I really want to bring our focus back to the true reason we're even talking about this. All these strategies, all this science, it's all in service of something much, much deeper than just preventing someone from breaking a bone.
So here's the bottom line, the big takeaway. Falls are patterns. They are shaped by the environment we're in, the routines we do every day, the amount of information we're asking our brains to process, and the behaviors we've been rewarded for our whole lives. By gently and consistently tweaking these things, we're not taking independence away. We're doing the exact opposite. We are preserving it. We're creating a world where confidence can grow again. And finally, I just want to say this directly to every caregiver who might be listening. For every little change you make, for every time you offer your arm, for every single moment of patience you show, please, please know that the work you are doing matters more than you can possibly imagine. And if no one else has told you today, you are doing an absolutely extraordinary job.